The next thing that we are going to learn is how to link to an external website. Let's say that Homer wants to link to his Wikipedia page. We are going to put this after our address information, but before our mission statement. First, I want this link to be on its own line, so I'm going to create a p tag. Next, I'm going to type what I want my link to say. I will type, "See my Wikipedia page." It's important to know that we haven't yet told the browser where we want our link to go. It also doesn't know that this text is a link yet. We create the ability to link by using an A tag. The A stands for anchor. I only want the two words Wikipedia page to be clickable, so I'm going to put only these two words in between the A tag. Create your A tag, and then use the drag and drop method to move these two words in between your tags. We told the browser that we want to link somewhere, but we still haven't told it where we want it to take us. This might remind you of an attribute that you learned earlier, where you used the source attribute to tell the browser where to get the information to display an image. Good for you for remembering this, but that is not what we will be using. In the early days, they decided that the attribute name will be href, which stands for Hypertext Reference. Remember that you can create an attribute by positioning your cursor between the tag name and the greater than sign and adding a space. I am going to type H, and then we can see that the context menu pops up. I'm going to use my arrow keys to navigate to the href and hit Tab or Enter. Once again, I'm going to remind you to let your code editor do the heavy lifting. It's not going to make a spelling mistake. Notice right away that, like the src attribute we covered earlier, there will be an equal sign followed by an opening and closing double quote without any spaces. You will insert the URL of our Wikipedia site between the two double quotes. Let's get that really quick. Let's Google Homer Simpson and click the Wikipedia page. Use Ctrl or Command-C to copy and Ctrl or Command-V to paste in between the double quotes. Now let's save and see our page. You can see that our link has turned purple and underlined because I have visited that site before. If you haven't, then it would be blue. Let's click it. You should notice right away that, as expected, it takes me to the Wikipedia page I linked. If it doesn't for you, it means you didn't copy the address correctly or you didn't paste it in the correct place. I can now click the back button and it will take me back to my site. I think that it is bad form to take people away from my site, so now I am going to show you the way to open the link in a new tab instead. We can do this by using an attribute called target. The order that you put your attributes doesn't usually matter. For right now, you don't have to worry about the order of your attributes. Remember that I add a new attribute by just adding a space after my last attribute. Make sure that you are outside of the double quote of your last attribute or else this won't work. I'm going to type in TAR and then hit Enter or Tab to let the editor do the heavy lifting. It's going to automatically position my cursor between the double quotes and it's going to come up with a list of options. All of these options start with an underscore. If nothing comes up for you, type in underscore and you should see a list of blank, parent, self, and top. We are going to highlight over underscore blank and hit Tab or Enter. I'm going to segue really fast and express to you how important it is to do your own research and reading. If you want to, you should look up target attribute HTML and click on the W3 Schools link that comes up. I highly recommend getting in the habit of looking up tags and attributes and learning what you can about them from W3 Schools or Stack Overflow so you can start to troubleshoot your own errors. Remember that there are a lot of you and only a handful of TAs, so it would be in your best interest to learn how to look up the attributes or tags you are having trouble with so you can see examples of how they are used and learn how to fix your own errors. It is an important life lesson for you to try troubleshooting your own issues before giving up and asking for help. Asking for help is okay, that is what we are here for, but you will enjoy this class a lot more if you don't have to wait in a long line to get TA help every time you have a little problem. After selecting the underscore blank attribute value, let's save our work and then check if it worked. Perfect, it works. Let's add another attribute. This one is very similar to alt, where it describes to the user where the link is taking them. Screen readers use this to help visually impaired individuals navigate your site. The attribute is called title. It is not the same thing as a title tag. Let's add the title attribute and type in wiki page on Homer Simpson. Save and let's see what it does. 3, 2, 1. When we hover over the link, a pop-up will appear with the text that you put between the double quotes. Now, let's use links to navigate to the other pages that we create. So far, all of our code has been in one file. Okay, I always lose students on this part, so follow along closely. If you are listening to this at faster than normal speed, I highly recommend you slow this down to regular speed. We want our links to be above the image, so let's go back to the code and make some space for us at the top to link to our homepage. We are going to create an A tag and put the word home in between the tags. Then we are going to create another A tag and put the word resume between the tags. The web page will try to display the words on the same line as our image, so don't forget to put a line break or two after your second tag. I like to put the pipe symbol in between my links. It is the key that is right above your enter or return key. You have to hold down the shift key when you click on it to get the correct symbol. You put it outside of the A tag, and I like to add a space before I add the vertical bar because it positions the bar in the center and it looks really nice. Let's save and check our page. Our future links appear, and our bar symbol creates a nice divide between the words. You can't click these yet because we haven't given the A tags an Href attribute yet. Let's go back to our code, and we can add an href for the resume page because we already have it created. Put a £sign in between the double quotes. I'm going to explain why we use the £sign in a second, but first let's save and check our work. You will see that the resume is now a hyperlink. Watch the address bar when I click on the link. Did you notice how it just added a $sign to the end of our URL? This means that it is referencing itself. You could technically set href to the name of the HTML file that you are working in, but using the $sign is better because you don't have to waste computer resources to get to that page. Using the $sign tells the browser to reference the page that you are already on. If you instead put resume.html in between the double quotes, the server will look for that file and waste resources pulling it up even though you already have it open. Now we need to link to our homepage, but first we need to create our homepage. Pause the video and see if you remember how to create a new file named index.html. Okay, hopefully you could remember how to make a new page and name it the correct name. I click on this icon and I type index.html. I then type an exclamation point and hit enter, and it autofills everything I need to get started. If nothing comes up for you when you type an exclamation point, you can copy and paste the default code from the description of this video on YouTube. You might have to open this video with YouTube if you are watching this in My Educator. If you didn't name it index and you named it something else, you should right-click on the file and click Rename, and then rename it to index.html. Before I continue, the reason that we named it index and not something else is because someone along the way decided that the default file name that a web server should look for should be called index. You could technically name it something else, but then the web server would need additional configuration instructions, and we don't teach that in this course. A web server is a computer that is constantly connected to the internet and serves out data to people who request it. Remember that you can access a website from an IP address, but the easier way to access a website is through its domain name. That is the name you type in when you type in byu.edu or wikipedia.org. You are routed to wikipedia.org by another computer connected to the internet known as the Domain Name Service, or DNS for short. The DNS uses logic that serves up the IP address so you don't have to remember what the exact IP address is for each of your favorite sites. The DNS knows all of them and then serves your computer that IP address when you type in the domain name of the site you wish to go to. The IP address served by the DNS connects your computer to the web server that stores that particular site's web files. The web server also has default logic that is looking for index.html or sometimes default.html. Hit the J key a couple of times to go back if that went over your head. Here's an example. I can type in byu.edu/default.html and it will pull up BYU's default landing page. This page happens to store all the directories that link you to anywhere you want to go across all BYU sites. Okay, let's get back to building our website. Let's give this file a title. This is different than our title attribute. This is our title tag. I'm going to type in Homer Simpson's home page. Next, I'm going to copy and paste my links from my resume page. Stop and listen to this. You must change the file name that your hrefs are connected to and make sure that they are linking to the correct file. If you are the type of person that will forget to do this crucial step, you should recreate your anchor links from scratch, so you are forced to think through where you want each link to connect to. This file is connecting to itself, so we use the #. This file is linking back to our resume page, so we are linking to resume.html. Make sure that all your links look the same across all your sites, so they are consistent, and then go back to your resume page and make sure that your homepage link is linked to your new index.html page. I always recommend that you let the editor autocomplete a file name for you. Sometimes you may have noticed that when you do that, you start typing and nothing comes up. For example, when I start typing IN, you can see that there is a slight highlight over the letters I'm trying to type in, and this stops it from autocompleting. I fix this by using the arrow keys and moving it one space to the right, and then back, and when I resume typing, the context menu pops up, and I can use it to autocomplete my file name. Next, let's add a quick h1 tag to our homepage and put homepage so that we can visually see that we are on the homepage. Save and let's check our work. I can now click my links to go back and forth between all of my sites. That's it for this video.